welcome to Muslim Writers Collective. Who here is here for the very first time? Round of applause. Make some noise. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for spending your Friday night with us. It's a pleasure and a joy to have you in this community and in this space. This month actually marks the 9th year anniversary of Muslim Writers Collective. Give it a round of applause. It's been an incredible journey. I think we've had over 300 open mics in maybe 14 different cities and 3 countries over the years, and we keep coming back here because we need a space where we can come together and share our stories and be vulnerable and build community, and just a place where we can, you know, let down the pretense and just be who we are, just be real, and there's a need for that. I just want to give a shout out to the Blockchain Center for hosting us, Eric Manganaro. Incredible, thank you for your hospitality, and for the Blockchain Center and to Nick Spanos for hosting us. Where's Abdullah? Let's give a shout out to Abdullah, Muhayya, and Yunus for bringing us the chai and the samosas. Round of applause. We would be drinking bottled water if it weren't for them. Bottled water is good. How much do you have to drink? 8 glasses? 8 glasses a day. And chai counts as water. That's how I do my calculations. So people are like, no, it doesn't count. It's a diuretic. I don't even know what that word means. So if I don't know what it means, it doesn't count. We have Fatima. Where's Fatima? Who is at the door? Fatima, hug everyone. I don't know where's Fatima. Where's Fatima? Okay, give it up for Fatima wherever she is. Listen, we have an incredible lineup today. If you would like to perform anything else, if you've not signed up, please see Fatima. Otherwise, we're just going to jump in to our first performer. You might have seen him on TV recently. There's a show called Atlanta. Has anyone seen it? He is the star of season 3 of Atlanta, and he is now back at Muslim Writers Collective. Everyone give it up for Arish Jabil. Welcome to Muslim Writers Collective from Atlanta to New York.
Yeah, I am Donald Glover. Yes, I know you. I look. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. Every time I come here, I eat complete shit. I always bomb. Okay, so I'm not totally looking forward to it, but let's get started. All right.
Are we in the splash zone?
What's that?
Are we in the splash zone right now?
Huh?
Are we in the splash zone?
No, you're good, all right. I do want to give it up for Hamdan, okay? The host with the most, okay? I really love Hamdan. Hamdan, like, every time I perform really poorly, and he always gives me a spot, you know? He's like a very supportive white mom. He's just like, just follow your dreams, pursue comedy, go ahead and do it, okay? But my name is Arish, like Irish with an A, okay? I am Pakistani though, you know, like Zayn Malik, okay? Like Zayn Malik. I know you see the resemblance. Listen, I believe in racism. Listen, the kind of racism that makes people think all brown men look the same, okay? As long as they think all brown men look like Zayn Malik, I support that, okay? That's a first-class One Direction upgrade. From looking like a budget Irfan Khan to Zan Zaddy. Let's go, okay? But I actually might be part Irish, though I might be part Irish. This is true. There's a rumor in the family that apparently one of my great-great-grandmothers was Irish. You know, there's no hard evidence of this. And as an evidence-based, facts-only person, I now identify as white, okay? I go by Patrick now, okay? I'm a POC, I'm a person of caucasity. Which really further confirms that I'm white, because claiming to be another race, even if the chances are less than 1%, is the whitest thing I could do, okay? I'm basically the Pakistani Elizabeth Warren. If she is Native American, I am Conor McGregor, folks. Conor McGregor. But I actually am Pakistani. Any of the Pakistanis in the house? Yes. I'm Pakistani. Not Indian, you know. Pakistan and India are very similar, though. Very similar. I would say they, you know, very similar, but they don't really get along. I would say they have beef, but India doesn't do beef, you know. Topical Muslim humor. All right, never mind. But I would say that, but I feel like white Americans have different perceptions of Pakistan versus India. You know, when we know this. Like when white Americans think of India, they think biryani. You know, biryani, chicken tikka. When Americans think of Pakistan, they think Bin Laden. It's awkward. I'm happy that he's dead though. I'm happy that he is dead. Doesn't sound like you guys are happy that he's dead. Some Bin Laden supporters here. What I will say, then, full disclosure, I was a little conflicted the day he died. Like, I was a little conflicted. Like, hear me out. Like, I was happy that he had died. I just wasn't happy where he had died, you know. In Pakistan. It was embarrassing, you know. It was embarrassing. It felt like taking a shit in your pants, okay? You're happy that it's happened. You're just not happy where it's happened. You know? It was embarrassing because Pakistan and America have been allies for years. And America catching Pakistan in bed with Bin Laden kind of felt like your partner catching you in bed, you know? With Bin Laden! It's awkward. Alright. Let's see. What's the topic for today? Yearning. What am I yearning for? I like body hair. Anybody else like body hair? I don't have any though. I don't have any. I think it looks nice. I think it looks nice on men. I think it looks nice on women. But I don't have any body. It's just like never mind. I'm just gonna. I just look. Huh?
Count your blessings.
Count my blessings. You know. Okay. I think it's beautiful. Body positivity. You know. I get jealous though. I get jealous. You know. I get jealous when I see people with body hair. You know? I've always looked like a Thanksgiving turkey underneath it. Like I always look like that. But I get jealous. You know. I am losing my hair though. You know. I am losing my hair. So like when I started comedy, I wanted to be like Hassan Minhaj. You know. Now I'm like Hassan Minhaj with twice the hair product and half the hairline. You know. Like every time I notice my receding hairline, I become Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Okay. Like that joke usually kills in Mordor, okay? What else? I'm also, I want to be healthy. Anybody else want to be healthy? Yeah? Yeah, I go to therapy. I believe in mental health, okay? I believe in mental health. I do have anxiety. Anybody else have anxiety? Yes? Yeah, I have anxiety. I get it from my daddy. Yes. I get anxiety. My dad is like the human version of the Citizen app, okay? Like, are you familiar with the Citizen app? It's an app that tells you all the crimes in your area, you know? Like, my dad is like the human version of that app. He knows about all the crimes, all the robberies, all the murders in the state of Illinois since 1985. Like, that's my dad. But he doesn't think he has it, though. You know, brown parents don't really believe in mental illness or mental health. Like, you can tell your brown mom with schizophrenia that she has schizophrenia, but she'll just get mad at you and your sister, you know? Even though you don't have a sister. I did, okay. But speaking, I want to be healthy. I'm yearning to be healthier. I recently got a prostate exam. Anybody else get a prostate exam? What your doctor doesn't tell you about putting a finger up your butt, okay, is that he's gonna put two fingers up your butt, okay? And then he's gonna do this like he's doing a Mortal Kombat combo, you know? It's a very uncomfortable place to be. Alright, not the best topic to talk about, alright, but there's, right? Alright, never mind. Shouldn't have closed out on that one. Alright, what else? What else can I talk about? How much time do I have, Jeff? I'm done? Yeah. I am done with this set, and I'm done with my career. Alright, thank you very much. My name is Arj Jamil.
Everyone, give it up for Irish. Give it up for Irish. Listen, it's hard getting up here on the mic and talking about your recent medical adventures. So props to Irish. I would not have related that if that had happened to me. I did get an ultrasound of my thyroid yesterday. It's so fun. It's like literally 5 minutes. It's like it's like a massage. It was incredible. And she's like, your thyroid is beautiful. It's so nice. I've never seen a thyroid like that. And I'm just like, what is a thyroid? Like, how big is it? She's like 5 centimeters. I'm like, I don't speak centimeters. It was like, and then she showed me the pictures. I couldn't see anything. It was all black and white. There's like white lines. I'm like, where's the thyroid? She's like, it's there. I see it. So, yeah, everyone go get your thyroids checked. Very important. Next up we have Suha Sayed, who has been supporting and performing at MWC for a while. She's an incredible artist. She is also a sticker artist. She has her own line of gourmet artistic stickers, and she's going to tell us all about that. Suha, welcome back to Muslim Writers Collective. Get up for Suha.
Assalamu alaikum. How are we doing tonight? I'm so excited to recite this poem. Something about that previous performer. I do hate to be the bearer of bad news. Nothing that I'm going to be talking about includes golem or prostates or anything of that nature, so I'm sorry to disappoint. But I want to introduce myself. My name is Suha. I'm a speaker, writer, activist, and poet based on Long Island and New York City area. And in accordance to the theme this year, I'm going to be sharing a poem, didn't say prostate this time, that is, in my opinion, the kind of antithesis of hustle culture. It's this kind of reverie I had for a while of, you know, like buying a cottage and moving out into the woods, but not in a witchy way, but like I'll grow my own produce and wear like white linen dresses, and there will be lots of organic produce and no cell phone usage in the midst of all of that. So a very escapism-driven fantasy of being away from this kind of hustle rat race culture. Speaking of rats, it's New York City. I think I see one right there. Just kidding. Just kidding. Got scared. But yeah, so I just wanted to share this poem with you guys. It's not titled, but I want you to kind of conjure up images of escapism and yearning, whatever you yearn for. Good mental health, a good credit score, good relationship with your father, you know, it's fine, whatever works. Yeah, right? Same. Okay. I wasn't created to sit and work away in front of endless blinking screens while daisies fade to gray. Dates to remember, people to impress, events to attend while seeping in my stress. My body aches with every movement, I'm depleting by the hour, falling victim to the grind and trembling before its power. 9 to 5s and overtime, extra shifts to earn a dime. Thankless labor I embrace just to fit within a race. A race where no one ever wins except for those at the very top. Lifeblood evaporating into dust with no plans to ever stop. I've become a fanatic in fatigue, an expert in exhaustion, strangled by vines in jungles that all of us get lost in. Trapped within the loop of choruses that implore, you will never be enough and should be doing more. Exhaust yourself until there's nothing left at all. Surrender your senses to the hustle and run until you crawl. But my legs have given out and my lungs want to embrace a lilac-scented breeze and sunlight upon my face. So if running through the fields with tendrils hugging my bare feet is considered giving up, I embrace the sweet defeat. I'd befriend the clovers and chat with swans and doves while drinking in the bluest skies from heavens up above. The bees tell me their stories, petals recount their day-to-days, under skies of ruby silk where I forever wish to lay. The soul yearns for peace and solitude, but are we really all alone when this world is full of gardens and lush wood waiting to be roamed? Leaving behind a life full of exhaustion and defeat to heal and grow amongst the lilies that sprout beneath my feet. My mind is alive with visions plucked from the garden of my dreams, filled with flowers, fruit, and fairies, and everything that gleams. So while my fantasies perfume the air like endless wafts of blessed bliss, I close my eyes and float into a world so much sweeter than all this. Thank you. If you guys want to support my poetry account, it is at on Instagram, The Girl from Two Worlds. You can talk to me and I'll shamelessly promote myself after this. Thank you.
Okay, give it up for Suha. So I don't know where's Georgia, but Georgia came to me and she said, why didn't you tell us the theme before? Oh, Georgia's here. She's like, why don't you tell us the theme more in advance? Because I had to write my song today on the train. She's like, why can you give us more notice next time? Like, tell us a month. And I was like, literally, the theme just comes to me. Like, I don't know what the theme is going to be. And the theme tonight is yearning, and which is like a weird word because I like Googled it. I was like, what does it mean? I thought I know what it meant, but it's like an old English word. It comes from like Gaelic. It's like an Anglo-Saxon word. It's like it's a weird word because it's like, what does it mean, you know? And yearning is like a deep, ardent desire. It's like comes from very deep within you. You don't know what it is, and it's just like, it's all you can think about. And I was like, that's a beautiful concept. And it's like, where do we have that in our life today? And you know, I was thinking of my aunt passed away recently in Pakistan. And the wildest thing, I don't know if anyone has ever experienced this, literally everyone in the family has been dreaming about her. I don't know if anyone has, it blew my mind because we're sitting there with her son, her daughter-in-law, and they're all exchanging dreams they're having about their deceased aunt. And one of them is like, I dreamt after Fajr, I dreamt she came to visit me and she said, I'm so happy that you took good care of me in my last days, and I'm so proud that you meet each other and you keep my memories alive. And then the daughter-in-law said, I had a dream. And it was just like, these people it's like, people have a yearning for something, right? They're yearning for their deceased, for their mother. And that's all they think about. So even when they can't help themselves, that's the thought that occurs to them. They're dreaming and they're dreaming of that. And it's like, that reminds me, it's like so many places, like in our tradition even, when the companion Bilal was on his deathbed, people thought he would be sad and he would be crying, but he was glowing. And they said, oh Bilal, why are you glowing? And he said, don't you know, tomorrow I get to meet my loved ones, Muhammad and his companions, peace be upon him. That's all he could think about. And then it's like, I reflect on myself, like, what do I dream about? What do we dream about? Like, do we even dream, right? And I dream about work. I dream about giving a PowerPoint presentation, and either it's like, you did a great job, you're going to be the new CEO, or it's like, you suck, why did we hire you? Like that, those are my dreams. And it's like, maybe there's something that needs to be shifted in our orientations and in our approach, and we yearn for what we occupy our minds with. And maybe it's not just something that happens to us, maybe it's a choice. Maybe we can focus our mind and be mindful of what is it we think of, what is it we meditate on, what is it we ponder on, what is it we think about all the time when we can't think of anything else. Like maybe yearning is not just something that comes to us, maybe it's something we can choose. And I think that is like, it kind of blew my mind because it's like, how are the dreams of people so different? And I think yearning is something it's really powerful and it's really profound. And I think that was sort of the intent behind it, is to focus on what is it that we yearn for and how do we move towards that. So to bring us back to a comic note, we now have Mike with us. Are you ready to go? You don't want to go now? You want to go in two? You want to go in two? Okay, fine. He'll go in two. We have another comedian with us, fresh from Hollywood. And so, okay, Mike is not going to go. Instead, how about we have Maha? Do we have Maha with us? Yeah. You ready? All right, Maha, welcome to Muslim Artist Collective. Give it up for Maha. Loud round of applause.
Hi everyone, I'm Maha Idris, and I came to New York less than 2 years ago with my daughter, who was 4.5 at the time. I started and embarked on a journey which started with my master's, and I've completed my master's now, and I'm working and living the New York life, which is busy and hurtling, and it keeps on sometimes sucking the life out of you, especially when you're a single parent. So, I'm an architect, I'm a poet, and a warrior. And I'm so happy to be here sharing my poem with you all. The poem I will share today is called Against Time. And it exemplifies the feeling of the yearning, the urgent yearning you have when you are stuck in the underbelly of the MTA subway system. And you're counting seconds until the time you can get to your loved ones or your destination. It could either be a place or a person. So, I'll begin now. Against time. Sometimes a tree branch for flattering feet to climb. sometimes a military chopper to seat a laughing child. A mother's arm are sometimes too frail to carve through a 5 p.m. swarm, jostling deep under Times Square. A voice that sings lullabies, Persian sonnets, Roberta Flack sings, "Yes, my dear girl, the sun does rise in your eyes. But woe is me that it cannot stall the rage and fury of this city. If God willed, it could, with a word, part like Moses' sea, this humanity. Journeys far and wide, distances I've tarried. These feet still spring alight after the burdens they've carried. Yet they prove not enough for a mother against time, crossing from abyss to abyss inside a sluggish metal carriage. Thank you.
Everyone give it up for Maha. I have not taken the train in months. I'm sorry. I got spoiled during. Do people take the train here? Who takes the train? Yeah. What are your favorite trains? Shout out to mine. 4, 6. What up? A,
B.
G, what?
B train.
B train? 5? That's a good one. 7. R. So this means that you guys are like real New Yorkers, because people who just come to New York, they say the colors. Have you ever, they're like, I take the red line. Have you met people like that? No, people in New York, they're like, I'm on the yellow line. I'm like, what is that? I'm on the blue line. So it's weird. But yeah, trains are cool. Yeah, I'm glad you were stuck in a train. I think that's what you were yearning to get out of the train. Yeah, trains are cool. That's all I have. It's like, you know, I'm like, I don't want people to like make fun of my bad jokes, so that's why I wear this. So no one is going to remember a thing I said on the mic. They're going to remember the guy with the weird jacket, the crazy jacket. This is like, my friend said, this is like Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. I don't know if anyone, it's like an old song, or it's like the Prophet Joseph had a coat, so this is my coat. Anyways, next up we have Mike Ishaq, who is a stand-up comedian, and we're very fortunate to have him. Everyone give a warm welcome. Mike Ishaq, welcome to this night.
This looks like some Middle Eastern's basement, you know? It's like all these fire hazards. You know how Middle Eastern basements are. Wires are everywhere. Okay, whatever, guys. How's everybody doing? All right, my name is Mike Ishaq. My family comes from a place called Yemen. Are you sure? Oh yeah, there's Yemenis over there, that's right. Me and these two guys are gonna open up a bodega tomorrow. Yeah, my family's from Yemen. Some people don't know where it is, and I have to let them know. I was like, Yemen is a beautiful place. It's got a real rich history. We introduced the world to coffee, camel jumping, and Arabs that can pass as Puerto Ricans. That's how we got in here, guys. Remember when Trump did the Muslim ban? He tried to keep Yemenis from coming into America. I had a friend of mine, he's a white liberal activist. He got really pissed off. He's like, can you believe this shit? They ban your people from coming into America. Aren't you mad? I was like, no, we're coming in through San Juan. Especially during hurricane season. We love hurricane season, you know? Because the hurricane just washes us on shore. Now I can call myself Rodriguez and swim to Miami. Trump is running for president again. And listen, I'm liberal. I didn't vote for Trump, but I'm a true liberal. That means I listen to everything. I listen to everything. And ever since Trump became president, all of a sudden, liberals stopped listening. And I tell my liberal friends, I'm like, listen to Trump. Sometimes he says things that I agree with. We just had a school shooting in Texas. There was police there. They had guns. On camera, they didn't help those kids. Trump said, if I was there, I would have ran into that school, even if I didn't have a gun. And I was like, that would have been great. I agree. Now you should have done that, bro. You know we got another school shooting coming up. You can put that into action if you missed this one. We got way more coming, bro. Show us what you got, Trump. You say you don't like Trump and all of a sudden people think you instantly like every other politician like Obama. I'm Yemeni. I can't like Obama. We voted for Obama. He was supposed to be our anti-war president, and then he bombed everything. He did it so much, he ran out of bombs. Obama has bomb in his name. Bro, we went from a black president to an orange president to a dead president. I think we're on pace for the machines to take over, you know? Chat GPT 2024. Next year you're gonna come here and a laptop's gonna be doing jokes and you're gonna be like, take a picture with a laptop. Dell is so funny. Show of hands, racists. Black people don't count, you earned it. Yeah, racism in America has changed. You know who I blame? I blame the news. I hate the news. You know, now more and more people are starting to realize that the news likes to manipulate us. They like to divide us. And the one thing they use the most is race. Middle Eastern people know. After 9/11, all of a sudden you turn on the news and it was Arabs, terrorists, Arabs, terrorists. That was the brainwashing nonstop. And people ask me if I support terrorism. I'm like, bro, these guys are messing up my Tinder game. Or Minder game. Bro, I was putting up numbers. Now I gotta pretend to be Guatemalan? It's not working. I'm too tall to be Guatemalan. I'm like the LeBron James of Guatemalans, bro. But now it's changing their tune. Now you turn on the news, and I never thought I would see this day come. The day where me, an Arab, can turn on the news, and who's the bad guy? White people. Finally. Right, and now white people know. What's the narrative now? Now the brainwashing is white people, racist, white people, racist. And I think it's messed up. But it's working. It's working. That propaganda's working. 90% of my friends are white. I don't look at them the same anymore. Now there's things that my white friends do that make me go, where were you January 6th, Sean? You know what I mean? Like now there's things that they do that make them seem racist, just like how back in the day everything we did made us seem like a terrorist. Right? Like if I see my buddy Sean, he's a white guy, he's not racist, okay? But if he wears nothing but camouflage, he's racist. He doesn't watch basketball. Racist. He loves hockey too much. Super racist. If I see a white guy in a pickup truck, maybe racist. Truck is lifted, 100% racist. If the truck has lawn chairs, he's KKK. If the truck has truck nuts, you're the grand wizard of the KKK. If that truck has fuzzy dice hanging from the mirror, that guy's lying to you, he's Mexican. It got better for us though, it did. Back in the day, if you saw any of these Middle Eastern people's faces, back in the day, you would have been like, this guy better not be on our flight. Now people see my face and they're like, the Uber's here. Right? Back in the day, my face was taking down your flight. Now it's taking you to your flight. My friend, I have water, I have charger. My name is Osama, give me 5 stars, have a safe flight. Hey guys, I just wanted to let you know, I'll be performing tomorrow at the Grizzly Pear in Midtown. I'm headlining that show for the first time here in New York. When I heard about this, I thought this would be really fun to do. And if you guys are looking for a good show, tomorrow is going to be a blast. We might be selling out, so you might want to get tickets soon. The best way to find me is Mike from Detroit. That's what I am, MikeFromDetroit.com. All my information is there, my Instagram, I post clips all the time. You guys have been great. Thank you very much. Keep it going for the hosts. Thank you guys.
Everyone, give it up for Mike. Give it up for Mike. The fun thing I learned about, I don't know if anyone knew this, but I've been studying a lot about Judaism recently. So I got a haircut yesterday. My hair was wild before. So I discovered this new barber in Soho. This guy's Uzbek, Bukharan Jew. I don't know if anyone has met Bukharan Jewish people fantastic, like very deep, rich history. Like they used to be in Iran, and then they moved over to Uzbekistan, and then a lot of them are in New York. They're in Queens. Like the Kew Gardens is like the biggest Bukharan Uzbek community. And so I'm getting a haircut, and he's asking me, what do you do? Are you married? Like, he's like, how is it possible? Young man like you not married. I cut your hair, now you get married. Like, so that's his haircut. So I'm like, okay, but like, what should I look for? He's telling me how he got divorced and how he has all these life stories. And he says, the one thing I tell you, never marry a rich girl. And I was like, what? I'm like I'm on the edge of my seat because the guy's giving me life advice while he's cutting my hair, 2 for 1. So he's like, never marry a rich girl because she will never cherish you. She will never cherish you. I'm like, okay, good, easy. I got the answer, right? He's like, but wait, I have to tell you something else. I'm like, yes. He's like, never marry a poor girl. I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, if you marry a poor girl, she's gonna steal everything from you and give it to her parents. I'm like, okay, well, what do I do then? He's like, you have to marry a middle-class girl, not too rich, not too poor. $80. That was my experience. But then he told me I should listen to his rabbi. So his rabbi gives lectures on like marriage and a lot of stuff. But the one thing, going back to the Yemenis, is that I learned, so I don't know if anyone has listened to Hebrew, like why does Hebrew sound like a European language? I don't know if anyone has ever noticed that. Like Hebrew sounds very white, right? It sounds very, very white. And the reason is that modern Hebrew was invented about 70 years ago. It was invented by a committee in Israel based on their attempt of what actual Hebrew sounded like. It was invented by Russians and Polish people and Europeans. And the real Hebrew is actually spoken in Yemen. The Yemeni Hebrews, the Tamimis, they speak the real authentic Hebrew, and that Hebrew sounds very close to Arabic. It blew my mind when I learned that. Because anytime I meet Jewish friends, it sounds like Shema Yisrael Adonai Elohim. I'm like, but that's what is Moses was not talking like that, So, anyway, that's what I learned about Yemeni Jews and the pronunciation of real Hebrew, and I got a haircut. Okay, next up we have Niwal. Everyone, give it up for Niwal. Welcome to Muslim Writers Collective.
Thank you. Salam, everybody. Also, did you get a haircut and a thyroid ultrasound in the same day?
2 days, back to back.
Okay, thanks. Salam, everybody. My name is Nawal, for those of you that I haven't met before. And I'm actually going to be talking about yearning today. I was just talking to one of my friends and I was like, dude, it seems like there's not a lot of guys in the audience. And she looked at me and she was like, yeah, have you ever heard of a guy talk about yearning? And then I was like, no. I'm like one of those people that tries to see, equal. There's so much feminism out there, and I'm a feminist, but I'm like one of those equal feminists. And so I was like, no. I think they're good with that. Like they'll talk about it. And then the first guy talking about yearning started talking about his prostate exam. I was like, okay, maybe she has a point. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. So again, like I said, my name is Nawal. I'm not good at introductions. I work in tech. I want to be a poet. I want to be a lot of things. Since I was little, I've yearned for a lot. So this is going to be kind of like a pitch because me and a couple of my friends are starting this initiative that I really want to talk to you guys about. But first I want to tell you why. So does anybody know Muhammad Iqbal here? Yeah. Like a big fan. So he says, and one of my favorite verses from what he says that खुदी को करबलत इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रज़ा क्या है. Meaning, raise yourself to such heights that before every little writing of fate, God asks you, what do you want? And so I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about a lot of things, and throughout my childhood, I've been like the type of person that kind of wanted everything. I kind of was interested in everything, like math, science, some days, but also like arts, creativity, things like that. And I was like, I wanted to do so much, but I felt like as a Muslim woman, there were so many parts of me that were a little bit, just tightened and perfected. And I had to be like the religious one and the strong one and the kind one and the eldest daughter of all immigrants and, not all immigrants. And so I'm like here and I'm like, dang, but I have so much to say. And so places like MWC came about and I would be able to like come and express myself and do spoken word, which I was going to do today, but Hamdan told us about this 2 seconds before we actually got here. So I wasn't able to write anything. But what I did want to talk about is this collective that I wanted to start. It's called Caravanserai. And what Caravanserai is it's basically like when you're on a caravan and you're like traveling, there used to be specific places, like hotels, you know, where people could stay in and chill in. And in those places, it's almost like hosteling, where you have the most wonderful conversation. You really, really get to know people. And I feel like since I've been in New York, one of the things that's been missing personally for me, and I don't know if you can relate to this, is like that soul connection. Like, I feel like we talk to people, we go to that CNYU 200-person professional thing, and somebody talks about wanting to get married, and then you meet two other girls you like, and then you go home. Like, but I want there to be spaces quite like this, where we have that connection, that divine love, that conversation, zikr nights, gawalis, you know, anything, all of the above. We celebrate ourselves in our diaspora, and we talk to one another. So, that being said, I'm going to have like a suhoor in Ramadan, and I want everyone to come through. I'm also going to be starting some like intimate gatherings, so like maybe 10, 15 people for like a game night or something else, but I really want you guys to come. Obviously not all at once, because that would defeat the purpose, but that is going to be coming out soon, so I'm just publicizing, and thank you all so much for listening. Once again, I'm Nawal, and the Instagram is caravanserai.nyc. Thank you, that's it.
Everyone, give it up for Nawal. We're so excited for Caravanserai, and we're all going to show up. It's going to be big time, inshallah. She mentioned that Allama Iqbal. I don't know, do people read Allama Iqbal? Where are the Pakistanis at? Hassan Server in the back, shy? My favorite line from Allama Iqbal is, when I read it blew my mind, and I couldn't understand it because it's Urdu, but it's like 90% Persian. Because like old Urdu used to be Persian, which was also like wild. So it says, he's talking about the difference between love and reason. Love and reason. Not just love, but passionate love and the intellect. And he says, Ishq tha jo koot para aatif-e Nimrud mein. Akal to mehve tamasha illa bebam abhi. And I don't understand the second part because it's all Persian. So, but the English is, he says that when there was the fire of Nimrud, and Nimrud, what the Quran tells us, was this dictator, he was this bad, evil king, and he demanded everyone worship him. He said, if you don't worship me, you have to go to the fire. I'm going to burn you in the fire. And everyone says, we're going to worship you. And the Prophet Ibrahim said, I refuse, I'm not going to worship you. And Allama Iqbal is writing about that instance. Like, what is it that motivated Ibrahim's refusal to worship Nimrud? And he said in Ibrahim at that moment, just like in all of us at every moment, there were two competing forces. There was his intellect, and then there was his passionate, ardent love of the one God. And his intellect, Allama Iqbal says, was just standing there looking around saying, what is about to happen right now? You know, he's telling me to worship, he's going to throw me in the fire. Are we ready for the fire? Fire is hot, it's going to burn me. It's like that was the intellectual conversation in his head. And then the passionate love he had for God just jumped into the fire, just dove in without thinking about it. That's what Allama Iqbal says. He says, and when the intellect competes with that passionate love, it was the love that he had for God that caused him to jump in the fire, because his intellect would have just told him to stand there, just stand there. So I love that about Allama Iqbal, and very excited for this initiative. Next up, we have, I think on that note, Hassan Server, are you ready to grace us with some Urdu poetry? Everyone give it up. Welcome back to Muslim Artists Collective, Hassan Server. Hassan also has a clothing line. You can talk to him after. Vests and shirts, and they're always matching.
Thank you. It's when your Test cricket attire aligns with St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. I'm taking my glasses off so I can't see you, because then I assume that you're looking at me.
I did the exact same thing.
Thank you, awesome. And it's great because it's a good trick. Maybe one of the reasons why men don't talk about yearning is because in Urdu poetry, all the men have written everything about it. So maybe we just read them and then we're like, we can't say anything back. So what I'm going to do is share two of these male Urdu poets, and I'll try to translate at the end, just two couplets from each of them. And it's about longing, desire, yearning. First one is from Amjad Samjad, who wrote in Urdu, And I'm sorry if you don't know Urdu. Like, I'm really sorry if you don't know Urdu. I'm gonna try to translate, but like, take lessons and it'll be great. Okay. Samjad Sound said, "इस कदर प्यार से ए जाने जहां रखा है, दिल के रुखसार पे इस वक्त तेरी याद ने हाथ। यूं गुमा होता है, गरचे है अभी सुबह फिराक, ढल गया हिजर का दिन, आ भी गई वस्ल की रात." And it translates something like, "At this moment, with such love, your memory has placed its hand on the face of my heart." That's heavy. With such, in this moment, with such love, your memory has placed its hand on the face of my heart. That even though it's the night of separation, even though it's the day of separation, even though we're far apart from each other, it feels like the distance has went away and we are in embrace. We are next to each other. We are no longer separated. That's yearning by the sound. Similarly, Faz, guy named Faz Ahmed Faz, great poet, also in two couplets described a similar feeling. रात यूं दिल में तेरी खोई हुई याद आई, रात यूं दिल में तेरी खोई हुई याद आई, जैसे वीराने में चुपके से बाहर आ जाए, जैसे सहराओं में हौले से चले बादे नसीम, जैसे बीमार को बेवजह करार आ जाए. Last night, in my heart, I remembered a memory of yours, a memory that had been lost, but it just came to me. And it felt like in desolation, there was spring. It felt like we were in a desert with heat and there was suddenly a cool breeze. And it felt like a sick patient had suddenly, out of nowhere, healed. Yearning. Thank you.
Everyone give it up for Hassan Server. How's everyone doing tonight? Who's excited for Ramadan? Who's not excited for Ramadan? You're not allowed to say that? Okay, good. Trick question. No, you can say that. No, some people are scared because they're like, oh my God, I'm going to have to change my life and it's going to be so hard. I'm going to have to wake up early, but you know, then it happens. Alhamdulillah. So next up we have Ikra. Ikra Akram, welcome back to Muslim Writers Collective. Everyone give a loud round of applause for Ikra.
Hi everyone, I'm Ikra. And I agree with Georgia, I feel like these topics should be announced beforehand because I wrote my piece yesterday when I found out the topic. But this is a concept that I've been thinking about a lot. So my piece is called Yearning. I yearn for my home, away from home. The Fajr Adhan being announced on the loudspeaker, filling the air. And actually I want to say that this whole piece was inspired by a trip I took to Pakistan just a month ago. So all of this is like everything that I've experienced on that trip. So I yearn for my home, away from home. The Fajr Adhan being announced on the loudspeaker, filling the air, as I walk along the quiet, winding roads of my father's Gaon, the village that raised him. With the open, a blanketed yellowish hue of the mustard fields, the clearness of the tree behind our home, where all the children from the village gather to play. Their hearts also clear, not yet darkened by the sorrows of this world. The stillness in the air, where I can count every sans, inhale, exhale. Where I can hear the trotting of a donkey on the unpaved path, carrying a load too heavy to bear, the beeping of a motorcycle whizzing by, the chatter from a colorful rickshaw packed with girls in school uniforms, a rooster announcing the arrival of the Suraj. A new day has begun. The sound of my khala's clapping hands as she lays a fresh mulika paratha on the tawa, the rising scent of jane and halwa, where everyone seems to know me as Akram ki beti, Akram's daughter. From the day I was born on the Jummah in Ramadan, when my mother was hanging clothes out in the field to dry, and brought me silently into this world behind closed doors in our veranda, where I was raised by my grandmother, who gave me the greatest gift, my name, on the day I entered this dunya, and parted for final Khuda Hafiz on the same day years later. I yearn for the warm embrace of relatives young and old, who take me in just as I am and shower me with love, just for being, for our kuni rishta, our shared blood. The rows of charpais lined up in the same crowded room as they make space for us in their homes, in their hearts, so we can bask in each other's company, cherish each lamha under thick, colorful blankets. Gumbles, we reminisced into the wee hours of the morning, sipping fresh cha, the third cup of the day. I yearn to partake in their witty banter, their style of telling drawn-out jokes in Punjabi, the endless stories that I was not a part of, all that had happened in the months separating our previous mulaqat. We share the same tongue, the same roots, the same threads, the same food, but they remind me often that I am from America, the land of hopes and dreams that they only long for, where all their problems would be solved, all their woes vanish, like smoke rising from the trash that is burned out back. And it becomes clear, it is all smoke and mirrors. I am a Bair ki Ladki, an outsider, and I return to my apartment in downtown Brooklyn, overlooking the Brooklyn Bridge, where Kens and Karens walk their dogs, and the clocks are sprinting, and we rush to catch up, coffee in hand, the sounds of honking and sirens rise and shine to the hustle and grind, where my stride matches those around me, where the roll of our tongues are the same, silencing our T's and swallowing our letters for blurting the truth, where we bond over reality TV shows and sports and Taylor Swift, where we live to work and work to live a life of privilege, one our parents never had. The grind that leads some to depression, where hard drugs are soft truths and pot is sold like candy, like the price of life is sometimes too great to bear. Where my colleagues ask if I want to grab a drink after work, where I'm the only hijabi, where Ramadan feels like a fat diet that they pity us for, and prayer is something only saints do. And as the smoke rises from the twin buildings, it is clear. I walk and talk like them, but I am not them. I am an outsider. I yearn for a place for both of me. A space that holds me as I am, gently, with all my pieces, not coercing me to throw some away when no one is looking, to paint one a different shade that will blend in, to cut and carve until I fit into the palm of their hands. Years and years go by. I guard my pieces from the harsh eyes and whispers of the world, and finally look down, and there it is, a ceramic work of art, all the pieces glued, taped, and melded together. All of me. I yearned to belong, to be accepted, to find a place, to use my voice in a space, a haven, for me, for us. It turns out it's been here all along.
Everyone give it up for Ikra. I just got back from Pakistan myself. Where are all the Pakistanis? A lot of them in the house. I was in Pakistan. It changed a lot. It changed a lot. And one thing I do is I always interview all the Uber drivers, and they have the wildest stories. So one thing is I try to blend in, right? I try to be a local, and I don't want to tell them where I'm from, so I speak Urdu. But I pretend I have a cover. I feel like I'm in a Jason Bourne movie, right? So I have a cover identity. They're like, "Aap kahan se aaye hain?" I'm Pindi se visit kar rahe hain, because then we're in Lahore. So I always say I'm visiting from Pindi, which is another city in Pakistan. I don't know anything about Pindi, so I asked my dad, "Can you tell me one neighborhood in Pindi? So if he ever asks where in Pindi are you from, I have an answer." And he's like, "Just say Askari, just say Askari." So it's like, "Aap Pindi se aaye hain, acha Pindi mein kahan se Askari se, oh acha." And then the guy grew up in Pindi, so I was like, "Oh my God, what do I do now?" So the whole time he's like, "Well, I used to live on this block, and you know that store that you should be." I'm like, "Yeah, I know it so well. I grew up playing cricket. I don't even know the basics of cricket." And I have this whole elaborate cover story because I don't want the guy to know I'm from New York, so he won't rip me off. But that's what happens when you go back to the homeland. Fun times, fun times indeed. Yeah, wild stuff. I think one thing, the best Uber driver who I loved is I get in the car, and I'm in a rush, right? Because I'm supposed to meet my khala, I'm supposed to go to my aunt's house, and I just get in and I say, "Please, jaldi se karna, nobody jaldi hai. Can you please hurry? I'm in a rush." And this guy snapped because he had it. He says, literally every single person who gets in my Uber, he tells me, I'm in a rush, can you please drive fast? He's like, every single person. It's like, is that part of the contract? When you download Uber, you have to tell that to your driver? I was like, what? He's like, literally everyone tells me that. He's like, what are they all in such a rush for? Like, what are they rushing to? It's like, I don't know, they have stuff to do. He's like, you know, it's not that they have stuff to do, it's a mindset that they have, where they're always in a rush, they're trying to get to the end, they're trying to get to the end. And he's like, what's gonna happen when you get to the end? Then what? Then you're gonna rush again? And it's like, I was listening to this guy, he said that in everything in life, you rush to the end because you want to get there fast. But maybe the journey is what matters. And we're living in life, we're trying to get to the end, and the end it's over. It's like the ride is over. What were we rushing for? Why couldn't we enjoy it? Why couldn't we take our time? So, yeah, that's a PSA from your Uber drivers in Pakistan. Always tell them you live in Pindi, and don't tell them to rush, because they're going to give you a lecture on why you shouldn't rush. Oh, and then he also said rushing is from shaitan. That's a hadith. It's like, I think it's a hadith. It's like anytime you want to rush, it's from shaitan. So don't rush. Take your time, everyone. Take your time. Except when the person says you're out of time. Then you have to end, okay? Next up we have Wasabi. Wasabi has been our videographer for the past, I think, year. So grateful for him, and he is also a poet. He's going to perform for the very first time. Everyone give it up for Wasabi.
Hi everyone. I'm very nervous right now.
Woo!
The first poem sort of tells you a little bit more about the names people call me. Whether I like it or not. I do like wasabi though. So this one's called Iftaar. Sone song sunaye usne, sote sang sune hame. Rang lajwab, dil de adab, loot liye mere ख्वाब. मेरे से दंग होके कहे, उफ! Iftaar, bitch. My name's Abdul Wahab. Call me Kebab, Wasabi, or Bob, but Iftaar. Alright, so the next ones, I guess, are a little bit to do with yearning. But yeah. So this one's called Career. Jobs are career cars, some with purpose, others that hurt us. Earn a living and make a killing, let bills be billing and billings come get it. Work ethic, the method, respect it, but check it. Don't call me unless USD is converted. Converse in with well-versed ones who want some and lose tons. The losses hurt the older you get. Just respect Habibi and never regret. So the next poem, it's called Habibi. It sort of continues with this one. It goes, Habibi, you, I'll never forget. I'll fuck every checkup if I could check up on you one last time. That laugh or rhyme back to mine. That hug, though, boy. Pillsbury boy buried deep, 6 feet. I miss him. God, please. Light his grave, he is kind as his wife is brave. His kind, we mine and we still can't find. Fine, that's life. Never regret and never forget mine. Wallahu alam when it's time.
Everyone give it up for Wasabi. I don't know if anyone's like this. I'm really weird with Muslim names. Like, I like people's Muslim names. So when I first met him, he's like, my name's Wahab, but call me Wasabi. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm going to call you Wahab. And then we have Moon, our incredible, give it up for Moon, our photographer, our incredible photographer. I'm not allowed to reveal her real name. Her real name's Fatima. So again, I refuse to call her Moon, but you know, Fatima and Wahab, Moon and Wasabi. MashaAllah. All right. No, I love it. I love it. People, you know, yeah. They're both good things. Moon is like the moon. MashaAllah. It's a good thing. Wasabi is like, without it, sushi is boring. So wasabi is a good thing. So MashaAllah. They took good names and they got good names. So MashaAllah. Much respect. All right. Next up we have Dania. Where's Dania Halak? Is she with us? Everyone give it up for Dania. Welcome to Muslim Writers Collective.
I forgot to send in my backing track, so I'm going to do it.
Sure. All right. Woo.
Hi guys, assalamualaikum. I'm just singing a song for you guys. I'm going to start off with Amawal by Fairuz. She's yearning for Lebanon. And then I'm going to end with a song by me, and I'm yearning for Syria where my family's from. So it's a connection to the theme. شو كانت حلوة الليالي والهوى يبقى ناطرنا وتجي تلاقيني وياخدنا بعيدي حدير المي نسيت ريحة الياسمين نسيت ريحة الياسمين نسيت ريحة الياسمين ولون السماء لما كنت صغيرة I don't belong to me but the stone cities and broken dreams قالت لي نادي ما في شي مثل ما كان لما كنت صغير قالت لي نادي ما فيني روح مع جدك روح معي Thank you. Sorry again. Do you want me to translate that or?
Sure. Yeah. Tell us about.
Sure. So the first part is Fairuz. It's who's a famous Lebanese singer if you don't know her. But she's saying how beautiful were the nights. شو كانت حلوة الليالي والهواء بانت الماء. You'd find me by the water in the nights. And then the song goes on. It's an upbeat song actually. It's very pretty. Look it up. It's called Kanaan at Home. But she talks about her grandpa and like the memory she had of Lebanon. And then I wrote a song, which hopefully will be out soon. A bunch of music on Spotify, by the way. But it's was one of the last conversations I had with my grandmother, and she, her memory was going a little bit, and she's in Syria, and she's like talking about how nothing is the way it was when we were younger, because obviously the war, but also her memory's gone and the people are dying, and it's about sort of institutional memory of the elders and how when they pass it goes, but also the war, and when the war happens, like Fairuz was talking about in Lebanon, a lot of the memory goes as well. So that was the connection. Thank you so much. Dania_music_.
All right, give it up for Danya. So you guys have been posting on Instagram, tag us for Muslim Writers Collective, and what an incredible lineup of performers so far. Give it up for everyone who's performed so far. Absolutely incredible. All right, next up, speaking of names, so I think like 5 years ago, someone called me and they said, we want you to mentor this kid. And he's really smart, he's up and coming, he's a poet. I'm like, that's awesome, but what's his name? They're like, Dean. I'm like, Dean, okay, I'm picturing like this white guy with like long hair and like this rapper. I don't know, I picked him. I'm like, Dean, okay, cool. Turned out his name is Dean, not Dean. It blew my mind. I was like, I met him, the guy has a big beard. He's like, my name is Muhammad Dean. So everyone, but he is an incredible poet. I don't know if he's here, I think he's here. Dean, are you with us? No, he's outside. All right, that's Dean over there. Can someone grab that guy? Yeah. He's gonna, yeah. Wasabi's gonna get him. Dean. No, those people are lucky. They have the dual names where it can go easy, like Sarah. Easy names. Some people have very hard names. So who here has an easy name? Like easy name, chill life. 4 people? Everyone else has really hard names? Like, where's the guy? Danish? Do people call you Danish? Danish? Names are incredible. Yeah. All right, Dean, welcome to Muslim Writers Collective. Muhammad Hafizuddin. Everyone give a loud round of applause. That is so awesome. It's so awesome.
Hello everyone, my name is Dean. I had some midterms today, so I wrote this in like 30 minutes on this subway right here, so I hope everyone appreciates it, and thank you for giving me the stage, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm done. This piece is called Yearn, like the name of the event. We all yearn to feel loved, but it feels like it's never enough. We expect perfection, accept nothing less than. Insecurities we project for our own ego's protection. Mimetic desires driving our level of self-worth and affection. How can we run after what we want when the world points us in its own direction? If the sky became a mirror, what would be our world's reflection? A world where we're always told what to chase? Pedal to the gas, no time for brakes. Pit stops that don't support, only judge. A world where many don't give out of love, but for hopes of luck. Happiness, a never-ending destination. Happiness, a future we must aspire to through material possessions. Not something we can learn through appreciations of our blessings. A world not of competition, but only connection. Always restless, chasing the next dopamine hit. We want the world to judge us with our intention, but we express ourselves through our objects, not our values. Currently, they've linked our self-esteem to currency, emotional inflation, regulated by material desires, self-adequacy treated like complacence. They say the heart pumps blood efficiently, but it must have a few holes, because no matter how much love we give it, it always leaks. The purity of love we've turned into greed, a feeling our heart can produce to infinity, it's turned into a commodity, defined by standards of society. Something innate became something we must attain. We invented numbing agents, but we never learned to live with the pain. Constrained by the outer world, we empower ourselves through giving up our own power. We yearn endlessly, long for the worldly desires consistently. The world doesn't make you sell your soul. It convinces you that the generic love it sells is the cure for your soul. We all yearn to feel love, but it feels like it's never enough. We're always chasing lights, but when will we love and appreciate the dark, starry nights? Thank you.
All right, give it up for Dean. Give it up for Dean. I feel so bad. I was like, he just killed it, mashallah. We were like talking smack about you the whole time before you came in. No, it's okay, you're the man. Dean is 22 years old. Give it up, 22 years old, mashallah. He was one of New York City's poet laureates. The mayor named him one of the top rising up and coming poets, mashallah. All right, we have 2 or 3 more performers. How's everyone doing? Woo. All right, awesome. So next up we have someone who has been a MWC OG for many, many years, gracing us with her musical talents. They say she's like a blend of Taylor Swift and Sammy Yusuf. It's just like incredible. Everyone give it up for Georgia Halliday. Welcome back to Muslim Writers Collective. Woo!
Thank you. Can I grab a chair from somewhere? So,
You want this one?
Thank you. I'm glad other people are on my side about this, like, we need the theme more than 3 days in advance thing. Because, like, every time I complain to Hamdan about it, he's always like, dude, I have to get inspired. I'm like, literally just make up a list of 10 abstract nouns and then we'll be set for the rest of the year. I don't understand. Just serendipity, there you go. That's next month. Okay, so I'm gonna see how I can adjust this to make it the right height. Alright. Yeah, I think so. So this song is inspired by before I converted, which was in 2014. I kept having these experiences where like some stranger would be like really kind to me for no reason, or like I would have a fight with a friend, but then like it was like clear that we would like
our friendship was gonna survive the fight. And I would have this like sense that like the kindness or the mercy or the love and the friendship was like this one tiny part of this like infinite source of love and mercy. And then only later did I find out about the hadith, which is that Allah divided His rahmah into 100 parts, and one part is here in the dunya, and it's like all of the love that has ever existed on earth, ever. And the other 99 parts are Allah's love in Jannah for His creation. So the song is called 99, and I wrote it today, so we're gonna put the words down here so I don't forget them. Old farmer in the garden asked the food open. The tango dancers in the church hall took me home with them. On the brick wall by the roses was written David's psalm, O Señor, eu me pastor. En nada me faltará. We are pinpricks on the skyline and milkweed on the wind. The mountains full of lost sheep, the ocean rushing in. For all our tender sighing, we know it's only one of 99, 99, 99. Said that we were looking at some difficult days ahead. She told me she was angry, but she embraced me before her bed. We are pinpricks on the skyline and milkweed on the wind. The mountains full of lost sheep, the ocean rushing in. For all our tender sighing, we know it's only one of 99, 99, 99. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all of my days. We are pinpricks on the skyline and milkweed on the wind. The mountains full of lost sheep, the ocean rushing in. For all our tender sighing, we know it's only one of 99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 99.
Everyone keep it up for Georgia. Multitasking. All right, thank you. Give it up for Georgia. It reminds me of this. There's a story of this old woman in a village, and she would just read Quran every day, all day, every day. And then someone came to her and someone said, "Auntie, what are you reading? I want to learn too." And she said, "Oh, don't you know I can't read?" She was illiterate. She couldn't read. But then someone was like, "How do you read Quran every day?" She literally was like turning the pages. And she says, I look at every word and I say to myself, oh my beloved Allah, this is true. And she goes to the next word, oh my beloved Allah, this is true. Oh my beloved Allah. And she just reads the Quran like that. And when Punjabi said Allah saying, Ebi Sacha, Ebi Sacha, Ebi Sacha, it gave me tremors. It's so beautiful. So incredible. Next up we have Zainab. Is Zainab with us at MWC right now? Zainab Badi. Alright, give it up for Zainab. Welcome to Muslim Artists Collective. There's like 10 Zainabs in the crowd. They're like, which one is it?
Thank you. Hi, I'm Zainab. I'm new to New York City. I moved here about 10 months ago. I came here because I was yearning for a sense of adventure, a change of scene. That's kind of my attempt to make this on theme because the rest of this probably won't be super on theme. But before I moved, a lot of people warned me about like the cliche New York things to look out for. They tried to scare me about the rats, the trash on the street, the subway, whatever. But the scariest thing about New York and the worst part of the city that no one prepared me for is the godforsaken Muslim dating app ads on the subway. There's so many of them. They're all horrible. Does anyone here work for Musmatch or Salams by any chance? Okay, good. So I started taking photos when I started noticing them, and now I have a collection on my phone of all the apps that I see, so I thought I'd share them with you all. So this is my low-key review of the ads on the subway for Musmatch and Salams. This is from Musmatch. You all might have seen this one. It says, 2023 is the year of the short Muslim king. No, it's not. 88% of women on Mus say they'd marry a man under 6 feet. So, first of all, I just want to say 5'8" is a perfectly acceptable height. Okay, I think this is just like really tapping into people's insecurities, but whatever. This one's not the worst of them, it gets worse. This is from Salams. Interest is halal if it's mutual. I don't hate that one, I'm gonna be honest, I don't hate it. It's corny, all of these are corny, but this is like, by a long shot, still not the worst one. Okay, you guys ready?
Yes.
It takes Muslims 5 months to get married on Mus. To the guy who met his wife in 3 hours, mashallah. This one's just funny. This one's just unhinged. I hate this one. This makes Muslims look insane, which, like, I get that we kind of are, but, like, we don't need to let everyone else know that. Like, other people are also riding the subway besides Muslims, so I feel like some things we can just, like, keep within our community, and this is one of them. So yeah, it's kind of wild. I mean, in a way, it's kind of a good thing if you really think about it. The fact that, like, Muslims have made so much progress since 9/11 that we feel comfortable being this unhinged in public in the city where it happened. Like, maybe that is a good thing. So good for us. Okay, this one's from Salams. More single Muslims than your MSA. Okay, also don't hate that one, it's fine. It's not super egregious. It's kind of corny, but whatever. Okay, this one's from Musmatch. American Muslims are less halal than Canadian Muslims. Time to up your game. And then there's an asterisk, and it says, based on self-reported data on praying, fasting, drinking, and smoking habits. I don't even know what this has to do with dating or marriage or relationships at all. It's just like moral policing for no reason. Half your deen doesn't have to take half your life. That one's from Salams. I am going to say there is kind of a pattern. Salams tends to be like a little bit more creative than Musmatch. Musmatch is straight up just like, get married in 3 months right now. I feel like the Salams team at least, like, they definitely made this on like Canva, first of all. Like all these ads are like very graphic designs, my passion ads. But the content is like mixed, it's a mixed bag. Okay, this next one is like pretty egregious, so brace yourself. Jobs that get the most matches on Muslim dating app. And then it says medicine, podiatrist, therapist, dentist, and optometrist. And then it says, your mom was right, you should have become a doctor. Whoever made this just goes straight to jail. Honestly, there's like no other solution. I'm sorry, like I am a prison abolitionist, I'm sorry Angela Davis, but like this is like over the line, there's like a line and you've crossed it. Also, this is just classist. Like, I it makes Muslims seem like we're obsessed with money and financial status, and that's the opposite of what our religion teaches, so maybe we shouldn't be putting this out there for everyone to see. Like, once again, like, let's keep some things to ourselves. Half your deen doesn't have to say half your life. Did I already say that one? Okay. Okay, and that's it. So, the moral of this, the way that it ties into yearning is that I yearn for a day when Muslims are like released from the shackles of being obsessed with marriage, and having a false sense of urgency around marriage, or the day that we can just get a little bit more like creative as a community. So I'm not saying that you should vandalize these ads when you see them, but I'm also saying if I see someone vandalizing them, I'm not going to stop them. So, yeah, thank you guys for listening.
Give it up for Zainab. So definitely Muslims and marriage, very controversial topic. Is anyone married here? One person, 2 people, 3 people are married here. No one else is married. Wow, okay. Very cool. No, some of us definitely have a hard time with it, but I feel like some of us do it. So I have this friend. He's been married. And he's been divorced. And he's been married. And he's been divorced. And he's been married and divorced 3 times. He's 3 months older than I am. Every time I tell my mom, I'm like, my friend, he got married again. My mom's like, he's gotten divorced 3 times more than you've been able to get married. It's like there's like something like off here. But then like I talk to him and I'm like, what happened? And every time it's the same story. It's like, oh, she seems so cool, she seems so nice, and then all of a sudden like she was a completely different person. I don't know what happened. Like, and I was like, but this okay, that was the first time. What happened the second time? She seemed so normal, and all of a sudden she was a completely different person. And I was like, listen, every single one of your wives, the only thing they have in common is that they were married to you. So maybe there's something wrong with you. He's like one of my best friends, but I was like, at some time, like you have to like do the math, right? Like, how are all these women finding you? Like, maybe there's something going on here. Anyways, yeah, mashallah, mashallah. And some people are throwing their hat in the ring. The guy's giving it a try. At least he's giving it a try. Mashallah. All right. Next up, we have Urshi Khairani. Urshi, welcome to Muslim Rights Button. Give it up for Urshi.
Welcome to New York, Zainab. So when I was starting first grade, I was very excited to start taking the bus to school with my big sister. My mom told me that this was a key part of being a big kid. That was a trick, clearly. As me and my sister were walking to the bus stop in a small town in northeastern Ohio on the first day of school, she warned me, do not call me Baji at the bus stop or at school. So my family's Indian, not Pakistani like everyone else here. And Baji is a name that younger siblings use to address their big sisters. It's a term of endearment and respect. And from the time I could talk, my whole family would call her Anjum, but I was always calling her Baji. So as you can imagine, this was pretty jarring. It was my first step into big kid land, and there were already new rules, and my head was spinning. I carefully followed my sister's lead and wondered what else would be different between us. The thing that struck me immediately was that she could still call me by my name, but I had no way to address her in public. I couldn't fathom calling her Anjum. There were probably only like 2 times where I ever even tried to say her actual name, and it felt unnatural and awkward and disrespectful. She, on the other hand, she could still tease me and boss me around and be my protective big sister. I was still her Arsh, a name that my friends and my family called me freely, and without hesitation. But how could I be her little sister without calling her Baji? I yearned to be her little sister. As things do, this became the new normal. I continued to be Arsh, and I became almost formally acquainted with this person named Anjum. At school, or predominantly around white people, I would just call her my sister. But with my family and my South Asian friends, she was always Baji. In these places, I leaned into my little sisterness. Everything was more comfortable. I could whine a little, I could be a baby, I could ask her to fix my problems. I could even tattletale on her. The code switching was early, intentional, and over time, in certain moments, even natural. So fast forward to 4th grade, and my sister and I were at the bus stop, because it's where all of my childhood happened, apparently. And I was telling a funny story to my friends, and while laughing, I quickly turned to my sister and said, "Hey, Baji, do you And she turned to me with a razor sharp, like she just like pivoted so fast, and she glared. And with that turn, I snapped back into reality, the reality in which I had betrayed our code. She looked super panicked. She averted her eyes, and I looked down at my laces. As if on cue, her friend Christina, who was in drama club, she was like, "What did you call her?" And me and Baji, we shared a look. Christina immediately started poking fun, as if on cue. In this really silly accent and a twirl, she said, "Ooh, Baji." Yeah, just like that. And everyone at the bus stop started to do it too. My sister and I were both mortified, and we didn't know what to say. We mumbled something in defense, but nobody cared, and the jokes continued. I was finally enough of a big kid to understand what Baji had been shielding me from all of these years. I am now way past school and well into adulthood, as is my sister, and I'm better at code switching than ever. I can boldly introduce her to new people. I can say, "This is my sister, Anjum." Sometimes it still feels a little awkward, but she's no longer a stranger in these moments, more so a friend. But I've thought a lot about that moment at the bus stop, about Christina's sing-songy twirl, about how the anticipation of it, or something like it, in a way stripped me of being my sister's little sister for years. Because of the pressure to fit in and to assimilate, to be American, my sister and I, we had to pretend like we didn't belong to each other. That in a small way, she was not unconditionally my Baji, and I wasn't unconditionally her little. I yearned to belong in the only way that I knew how. I've never been a big sister. I didn't grow up with a name so special only to me. Well, except for like my actual name, which is really long. But when I was 19, my first niece was born. And as she grew into her own language, I discovered that I too belonged to somebody in this way. With her existence, I became Arshi Khala. In Urdu, the language that my family natively speaks, Khala means mother's sister. And similar to Baji, it is a term of endearment and full of respect, and a name that indicates a very unique relationship in your life. I now have 6 little nieces and nephews, and they all call me Arshi Khala in their own little way. The littlest ones can't say it yet. They have variations like Arshi Khala or Arshi Hala, which sounds like the bread, which is what their teachers think that I'm called. But every time one of them calls it out, every single cell of my body knows that I belong to them and that they belong to me. I wonder if one day they too will shrink away from calling me by my favorite name when they're at school or with their friends, not because I ask them to, but because they too might want to fit in. And with that, I realize that I am their Khala and they are my littles, and nothing can change that. That we already belong to each other in a way that no one else can. Whether they call me by my favorite name or not, they can always come back to this place of safety. It is as much theirs as it is mine, because we are home to each other. We belong to each other, and no matter what happens, it'll never be any other way. I don't know what special names you all have in the relationships in your lives, but I hope that you know that you unconditionally belong to them. And just like that, with the wisdom of being a Khala, I know that I was always unconditionally her little, and she was always unconditionally my Baji, and that it'll never be any other way.
Everyone, give it up for Arshi. Give it up for Arshi. Well, thank you everyone. This has been an incredible evening. We're always happy to see you all. There's more chai and samosas. You can help yourself. Thank you again to the Blockchain Center and Eric for hosting us. Thank you to Moon and Wasabi and Fatima and everyone who volunteered to make this an incredible evening. Thank you to all of you. Give yourselves a round of applause. And I don't know, there's one story I think, going back to the theme of yearning. I don't know if anyone has ever heard the story of the one-eyed monk. Has anyone heard that story? It's like, I heard it and it blew my mind because it's like on the theme of yearning, because it's like whatever you yearn for, the universe shows that back to you. I don't know if anyone has ever thought about it. It's like the world is a mirror. Whatever you walk into a situation with, you see that coming back at you everywhere. And I heard this story, it blew my mind, is that in the old days, there were these monasteries in Japan where the monks would study Buddhism. there was this one monastery which was like their Mecca. It was their most esteemed, most vaunted, all the dopest, deepest monks of the religion went there and studied. And they had a tradition. Any monk could show up at that monastery and debate. And if you won the debate, then you could study at that monastery. That was their tradition. So one day a young man, a young aspiring monk, he gets on his horse, he travels hundreds, thousands of miles, he shows up at the monastery, he's knocking at the door, middle of the night, it's raining. And he says, yes, who is it? He says, sir, I am here to follow the tradition. I'm here to challenge one of your monks to debate so I can study at this monastery. Who do you have who can debate me? And the headmaster of the monastery is like, what? Like, because in the middle of the night. And the guy doesn't have any monks because it's like a weird time of year. Like one of the monks, his wife is giving birth in like Tibet. The other monk, he went away to teach their scriptures. The other monk is like broke his ankle. He's like, I don't have anyone. But he's not allowed to say that because the honor of the monastery is at stake. There's just one guy there that day. It's the one-eyed monk. This guy's a little slow. He only has one eye. And he is not a monk. They just call him that, right? He literally just cleans up. He cleans up. He's a little slow. So he says, wait right here, wait right here. He grabs the one-eyed monk. He says, you have to listen to me very carefully. This is very important. The stakes are very high. A man is going to come to debate you. You're just going to sit in that room and be quiet and don't leave that room until he leaves. That's all you have to do. One-eyed monk goes, okay, okay. So he goes back to the traveling monk, the guy, the student, right? He says, because you came all this way, we're going to offer you a very special treat. We only offer once every 1,000 years. We're going to treat you to a silent debate. And the guy's like, what? I memorized all these scriptures. I've been reading all the books. I've been studying 30 years just for this moment. I read a silent debate. He says, listen, because of the level of your taqwa in the Buddhist religion, we're going to give you a silent debate. The guy goes, I'm ready. How does it work? He goes, you're going to go into a room and whoever leaves the room first loses. That's the debate. He goes, I'm ready, I'm ready. Now the headmaster is praying. He's like, oh my God, please, let's not destroy the honor of my monastery. Because he gave the one-eyed monk very simple instruction. Just sit there, don't leave. So the headmaster is waiting. The one-eyed monk is sitting in a room. The traveling monk, they go in. And they're both sitting there. And the headmaster is out like praying. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The traveling monk comes running out. He's running out. It's like his face is white. He's running out and he's gasping and he says, Sir, I'm so sorry I ever thought I was worthy of your monastery. I'm not even a beginner in this path. I'm so sorry I trespassed on this holy territory. I need to study for another 40 years. I'm so sorry, will you forgive me? And he cries and he leaves and the headmaster is like, what? The one-eyed monk won? Like, what did he do in there? I thought the guy was slow. He doesn't know any of the scriptures. And he's like, tell me what happened in there before you leave, traveling monk? What happened in there? He says, let me tell you exactly what happened. I walk in there, he's sitting there, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, he's not doing anything, he's not saying anything, I don't know what, it's a silent debate. So I just raised one finger. I meant by that all of our religion comes back from the Buddha, the teachings of the Buddha, that's our religion. So I raised one finger. How can you argue with that? And he says, then the one-eyed monk raised 2 fingers. And I thought to myself, I was like, what is this guy trying to tell me? Oh, it's not just the Buddha, it's the Buddha and his students, it's 2. I was like, oh. Then I was like, wait, let me try to beat him. I raised 3 fingers. It's the Buddha, the students, and the teachings. It's all 3 of them. I thought I won. All of a sudden, the one-eyed monk makes a circle. He was telling me that you think the Buddha, the students, and the teachers are 3 completely different things. It's all one whole. It's all connected. And that's when I fell to the ground and started crying. I was like, wow, like this silent debate, one-eyed monk beat me. He ran out. And the headmaster is like, wow, like who is this one-eyed monk? We should make him the new headmaster of the monastery. I just made it up. One silent debate. He goes, okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. 2 minutes later, the one-eyed monk comes running out. Headmaster is like, son, I'm so proud of you. You have held the honor of our monastery so high today. We're so sorry we made you clean up after us and we gave you the dal chawal last, in the monastery. You're a great wizard. You're a teacher. You're a sage. And the one-eyed monk said, what are you talking about? What? He says, where is that guy? Where is that traveling monk? Where did he go? He says, he left. You won. Tell me what happened. He's like, I don't know. Okay, let me tell you what happened. I walk in there. I'm ready for the debate. He told me, don't leave the room. I'm sitting there quiet, calm. All of a sudden, he raises 1 finger. He's making fun of my one eye. He's like, you only have one eye. You're blind. He says, my whole life people made fun of my one eye. I got so angry, but you told me to stay in the room. So I raised 2 fingers. I say, listen, I have one eye, but you have 2 eyes. Be grateful for that. Don't make fun of my one eye. You have 2 eyes. I thought it was going to calm him down. All of a sudden he raised 3 fingers. He was saying, between the two of us, we only have 3 good eyes. You're missing an eye. And the headmaster's like, then what did you? He's like, then I raised my fist because I want to punch him in the face. And then he ran away. Listen, I heard this story, I was like crying because it was like, here are these 2 people, they're not actually having a dialogue. There's no debate. They're living in their own heads. They each have this story in their head. The traveling monk has a story. These are the greatest teachers of our religion. Everyone here is a wizard. They're all geniuses. He's like reading all of the symbolism in one finger in these fingers. And then the one-eyed monk, the story in his head is everyone is always making fun of me because I only have one eye. So it was like the universe is whatever we make of it. And they both walked in with this story in their head and they saw that story reflected back at them in the world. So whatever we yearn for, we have to be very careful what we yearn for, because we'll see that reflected all around us. We'll see signs of that. We'll see that in the people we interact with. We'll see that in the things that happen to us. That's why it's very important to be mindful of what we yearn for. And I think this is a great reminder as we enter Ramadan, inshallah, next week. Thank you so much to everyone for coming and for your love and support. Have a good night. I'll see you next month. Wait, you wanted to perform? Do you guys want to say for one more performer? Alright, let's go! Woo! What's your name? Nisha, welcome to Muslim Writers Collective.
Okay, I'm a little nervous because I didn't think I was going to perform today. But, okay, so I've been signed up for the Muslim Writers Collective subscription email thing for like about 3 years now, and every time I would see the topic, I'm like, damn, like, this is very short notice. So I wouldn't prepare anything, and I kind of just never ended up showing up. But then, and I would think that there was like probably some communication somewhere where performers got notice in advance for something, and I just didn't know. But after hearing everyone talking about that, I was like, okay, this is what everyone's doing. Someone wrote a song, and like, you know, like you guys are all doing this with short notice, and so I feel like some of what I want to share is kind of still a process, but I'd rather just share it right now. Just because it's never going to be perfect, we're always going to be improving our thought process or learning, or just, it might, maybe I'll feel differently later, but right now you all have brought your presence here. And I remember I was at an event once where the speaker shared a quote, the greatest gift you could give someone is your presence. So just like the presence we've been all sharing here today and the topics we've discussed, it kind of provoked some things that I wanted to share. So it's 2 things, but they're kind of short, so I hope it's okay that like, I hope I don't take too much time. So someone shared, you shared a poem that I really resonated with. The last 2 months I've been in Bangladesh. I've never been there that long. The first time I went there was 2002, and then 2017, and then just these last 2 months. And when I went, I was supposed to come back on January 31st, I went January 9th, and then I ended up canceling my flight because my parents were sick, and I just wanted to be there with them. So, I'm going to share something I wrote at that time. It's just like a caption that I wrote, but it was inspired kind of like by the word hyphen, from like having a hyphenated identity, being born and raised in New York and going back home, and yeah, and then after that I'm going to share a short poem. So before I start, I'm just going to share the definition of what hyphen is. It's a punctuation mark, used especially to divide or to compound words, word elements, or numbers. So before I canceled my return flight to New York City, my dad said, Nisha, tumi tumar deshe chole jao, which means, Nisha, return to your country, meaning the US, New York City. And it's funny how familiar that sounded. Because, you know, I mean, growing up here, you hear people say, go back to where you came from. After a couple of hours of thought, I told my parents, Apnera Amrandesh, which means you are my country. And thus I chose to stay a little longer for them. This is the longest I've stayed in Bangladesh, and in a way, it's not that long. How do I explain that every time I meet the soil from where my roots come, it slips through my fingers?
as if the book that I'm so invested in reading, that I've waited so long to read, is erased as I read each word. And then that's that. There is nothing left, no meaning to derive, nothing to grasp. This hyphen I've lived with my whole life, the one that I thought connected me to my roots from America to Bangladesh, the America I was born in, the one I grew up in post 9/11 as a Muslim Bangladeshi American woman, where any place I took up space in, I stood out, and by default represented these identities to an America that did not want us. Looking back, I constantly stood out for communities that I never belonged in to begin with. All this time, I've lived on one end of the hyphen, while I reached out to the other. I thought this hyphen was a connection, a bridge. But now that I am living at the other end of the hyphen, the more times I hear in Bangla that I am an outsider, that is all I am reduced to, and it stands as a division. There is a pain that only those who have intersectional identities could understand. I don't have the language to express all that slips in translation, nor the capacity to explain the struggles we faced when we built our, sorry, the time limit thing I had for the app came up. Okay. There's a pain that only those who have intersectional identities can understand. I don't have the language to express all that slips in translation, nor the capacity to explain the struggles we faced when we built our life on a land built off of systemic racism, from the playground to the classroom to the professional workspace, with this visible representation of everything we are or are not, etched in our faces, our clothing, and our food. This hyphenated identity is less of a bridge and more of a game of tug-of-war between one end of my heart and the other, and neither of them are at home. And, woo! This is something I wrote during towards the middle of the trip, because I still had no idea when I was returning. And then it's interesting because I started to feel a lot more like I was taking up space with both of my identities, both of my identities as in the New York City me and the me that's considered an outsider there, even though I thought that was home, me going back home. The more I start to take up space as just who I am and stop trying to care about what everyone else perceived me as, I felt like all the pieces of me were getting space to kind of belong, like I was creating space for it. And it's also interesting because over here, growing up here, my younger sister, she calls me Nisha by my name, instead of Nisha Apu, which is what we would probably say to someone older, like your older sister. But in Bangladesh, when I met all these relatives I never met before, they all had a way of calling you that identified the relationship you have with them in your family line. So the more I spent time there, the more I was starting to feel this is also home. So yeah, that's that. And then the poem that I want to share is something that Hamdan, when you were speaking about what yearning really means. It's interesting because this whole time I'm talking about hyphenated, and I'm thinking it's no longer a bridge, it's more like tug of war, but I feel in a way it still is a bridge, and I feel the place you are when you're in yearning, it's still the experience of it, the struggle of it is you're in man, I forgot what I was gonna say, but you're kind of in transition to something, you're kind of a passage towards the other end, or something that you're reaching towards. Which to me, while I was in Bangladesh, there were a lot of deaths in my family, so there's just too many deaths, there were just so many deaths. I was meeting family members because I was at funerals. So when you were talking about death, I was just thinking about how everything we do at the end of the day, it is about where we're going to be in our next life. It is an investment towards that. So I just want to share this small poem that I wrote about death. One second, I need to get it out. Okay. On death. What can I comprehend of death other than through the essence of life? The fragility of a veil lifted, the humility of nature, to submit to its will, to return to the source from which we've came with everything we've done. Maybe we've practiced tiptoeing through endings with every loss and heartbreak, every loss of ourselves and loss of another, a loved one, a stranger that's touched us, before crossing over to the other side, a new existence yet to consume us. If our souls never die, perhaps we are eternally drifting through curtain after curtain, backstage before the final reveal. Perhaps at the end of the tunnel is a mirror of everything you ever knew, perfected. And perhaps the mirror itself is a veil too.
There's nothing I can say after that, so good night. Thank you for coming to the